Welcome to Babel's Park, an autobiographical dystopia of a brainless cyber whore. You're listening to Chapter 11, Valley of the Silicone Dolls.
In the still ongoing press conference, the next question came from a journalist of a former colony of the British Empire.
Susan Wong, The Standard, Hong Kong. Could you please explain the silicone dolls offer?
Thank you very much for this question. First of all, we survey potential customers to find out what they want. Behavioral data is also collected and taken into account for the subsequent coding process. After all, a personal digital assistant should know the unconscious inclinations and desires of its owner and behave accordingly. According to Spinoza, free will is an illusion, nothing more than the lack of knowledge about our deepest desires.
Bob paused for a moment and continued.
A computer model is then modulated to receive the desired surface and behavioral data from the host in real time and later comes to life as a network interface controller that receives its commands via voice input and obeys those commands. At this stage, it is still a binary access by a locally outsourced android, Babylon for short, which receives additional functions, including the release of pheromones, until this cybernetic organism has evolved into the incarnation of the ideal partner.
Doesn't that destroy any intimacy?
Why? Quite the opposite. This makes intimacy possible. Because, unfortunately, we don't have too little intimacy, but too much. In the past, there was the world of men and the world of women. Today, the sexes know each other so well that the attractions for each other have been lost. In this situation, our assistants keep a cool head.
In this way, customers become victims of perfidious manipulation.
Again, why? They are taken by the hand and led into the realm of their own fantasies. Don't forget, men created as gods, not the other way around.
Cape Times correspondent Stuart Liu. My question, are these park whores maintenance free?
Almost, but they also need energy. However, they are quite frugal. One special chocolate bar a day is enough, because the anandamide it contains, an endogenous psychoactive neurotransmitter, influences the cannabinoid receptors in the brain to maintain their mental performance. Anandamide, by the way, comes from the Sanskrit word ananda, which means joy, bliss, or delight.
In other words, these sex babies are drugged out bitches.
We have only taken into account that in the brain the same hormone is responsible for spiritual ecstasy and orgasms.
A particularly persistent press agent asked several times in various contexts if Babel's Park was a source of foreign exchange and a trading center for weapons and drugs. Bob could no longer ignore him. With a mild smile, he said,
These are just games. Babel's Park is just a mirror of our society.
David's park watch beeped and displayed a short message. Thank you for the interest you have shown in the Instant Karma show. We regret to inform you that your application has been declined. Please continue to enjoy your stay anyway. The management. David read it 3 times until the consequences dawned on him.
Molly Walton, The New Zealand Herald, Auckland. My concern, the children are completely captivated by the video games they are manipulated by.
The goal of every player is to be the winner, to hit the jackpot.
Okay, but the kids are hardly creative. They just follow the software developer's pitfalls like a donkey follows the carrot dangling from the stick in front of its eyes.
Exactly the other way around. The users are the programmers, through their intuitive inputs, which could be wrong in a certain situation and are acknowledged with an error message. The system permanently expands its knowledge. In this way, a supposedly incorrect input can lead to the desired result the next time. Next question.
Bob took another sip. David became nervous. He had to do something.
Cheryl Tan, Financial Times, Singapore. How about data security?
We invite hackers worldwide to crack our firewall. Of course, one team plays for the park. This is how we constantly improve our security.
You probably have a personal vision of where all this could lead to.
Certainly. In 50 years, Central Europe will be a theme park with extras playing life in Germany for rich Asian tourists. All the jobs will go to Asia, where they will be 10 times as rich as we once were.
David stood up and made his way through the ranks.
Aren't these extras ugly creatures inhabiting beautiful bodies that don't belong to them, laughing in prefabricated voices accompanied by artificial smiles that offer all kinds of rehearsed gestures?
No, seriously, of course. Much of it is driven by a desire to master age. But beauty is the average of many different faces when digitally captured and stitched together. With Dorian Gray, his portrait still had to age. Here, the digital version remains.
She wanted to say something back, but he stopped her with a gesture while he emptied his glass. Then he looked at her sternly.
Please think for a moment about the following. Didn't creation give you a body that you didn't choose, that you can only tweak to a certain extent, and that helps you communicate what you've learned so far through body language? Last question.
She fell silent.
Charles Driver, The Sunday Times. Isn't the supernet a bargain market that pretends that communication and social relationships are free? You can't just click away from real problems like the information garbage that clogs the market. That's why high-quality content is still being printed.
Just before David left the room, he heard Bob say to the British reporter,
I appreciate your attempt to restore honor to your guild, but unfortunately, this idea is anything but new and was proven wrong 50 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is up. Thank you very much.
David closed the door and decided to go back to his hotel room for now.
You listened to the 11th chapter of Babel's Park. In the next chapter, Endorsements on High Heels, Annette visits Jack in his doll workshop, where she is injected with a preoperative anesthetic poison into her metabolism. Listen to the ad-free version on Apple Podcasts now. To learn more about Babel's Park, visit Dr. Kalasana's website fuckup.coach. And to let us know what you think of this series, we look forward to your review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you.